Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net, just escaped from prison. Anyways, I'm going to show you a demo in Linux, Ubuntu, how to open or how to connect into your Postgres database. Now, instead I'm using Ubuntu. I'm going to show you no fancy schmancy editors for C++ or anything, just basic stuff. So working here are two postings that I just put up. These include my own, which will give you references on how to set up Postgres, install it, and configure it with the proper database and the proper permissioning and all that. Because to be honest, it's not as easy as Windows. Once you get it, you get it. So I'm going to try to explain all the gotchas for you to set it up. Okay, so we have here two terminals. I'm going to focus on the first one here to set up a user. So what we got here is, if you are familiar with apt-get install Postgres, blah 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 blah. I do, like I said, include some tips here, and you can make references to them. It's not that hard to install Postgres. Once you get it installed, it gets kind of interesting because it's PSQL is the command, and you have to set up your permissioning properly based upon your users. So what I've got here is, if you come to this link here, nope, and here, okay, right here, this little DigitalOcean link is excellent for showing you how to install Linux. Sorry, the Postgres. Okay, so you can just follow that one. Let me just see what we got here. Okay, so yeah, just follow these instructions. Basically, make sure you do an update. You do, as I said, a sudo apt-get install of these packages. Also, this will walk you through on how to install the library as well. Or does it? No, this will just give you a crash course in Postgres itself. But it's all command line, but I'm hoping to find a good client GUI tool for Postgres in Linux. Graphical user interface. That'll make life a lot easier. So once you get your install working of Postgres itself, then you have to set up your users and your database and the privileges. So if you come under here, under this Cyber City Biz link, which I believe is this one, it will walk you through how to properly set up your user on your Linux. So you just add the user, you set a password, you log in to your Postgres user, which Postgres, this process will create for you as part of the apt-get install. So it's automatically done for you, which is good. Then you just run this command, PSQL, the template 1, and then you can PSQL the database and use the Postgres user. Everything's cool, and then here you can set up your user. So in this case, we're setting up Tom, password, my password. Then we got to create a database that's associated, called Jerry. So we're creating a database that is associated with user Tom. So at the same time, we have to grant privileges of the database Jerry to the user Tom. So we have to do that, and you just quit. Okay, so then you can then SU into Tom, and then PSQL, run the Postgres using the database Jerry and user Tom, which is all explained up here earlier, which I just did. Alright, so now once you get that running, what you need to do is to set up all your C stuff for fun. Yeah. So this little link here, the tutorials point, hopefully it's in here somewhere. If not, I'll make sure it's in there. So we have this tutorials point, and what this essentially does now is enable you to create your C files and compile them. So what you need to do is you need to download this library, which is the library right from Postgres for C++. This guy right here. So you get it by running wget, you untar it, you cd into wherever your destination folder is going to be, you run the .config. So let me show you that. So what I essentially did was, in my environment, I've created a okay, so let me just exit out of this. So this is my regular, let me just do this again here. Okay, so we have our regular, my user by default username is Caustic. So now I'm going to SU into, believe it is testpg, right? With my proper password. So now I've logged into testpg. Okay, doesn't matter my password, you have to do it on your own environment once you get it running. And what you do is you need to get PSQL running, you need to run this guy. Okay, so essentially what we're telling PSQL is to load and run, which is Postgres. We're using the database testdb underscore big U or capital U user testpg. So this testpg user has to match with the user that you were logged in with. Otherwise it will not work. Or maybe there's some magical way, but that's how I got it working, at least that way. Okay, so that's how we create the database and all that. So here we need to make sure that we've created, like I said, a database, a user, and basically that's all explained in where am I? That is all explained in this guy. I just walked you through it. Okay, just want to make sure everyone's on the same page here. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to log into Postgres with this proper user ID, testpg, and as I keep saying, your database user has to match with your Linux user as well. Otherwise, from what I see, it doesn't work. I'm sure there's ways to override that, but for now, that's how that works. That's how I set it up. So now, I'm going to show you is how we do the C code part. So as I said, you need to follow these steps to download the library, your C++ library, untar it. So let me just show you the rest of it. Okay, so in here, yeah, I can't remember where I put it, but this does work if you follow these pretty simple instructions. And you want to make sure that you have a copy or an instance of your Postgres running. in my case, I know it's running. I'm going to show you some code. Okay, so now we are going to look at some C++ code. This is the first example. There's a total of 4 examples. This is the first example, which is basically just going to open the database. Okay, so let me just show you this. This is called test CPP. So I'm going to gedit it, test CPP, and here's the file. Okay, you got to make sure you use the exact same credentials. Your database is testdb. Your user, remember I showed you before, test PG for the database user, and the password of the really secure password of this, and then run all these commands in C or on the command line or in the terminal. It should run. So in order to do that, you need to build. Now this is just for those that are fairly new to C++. This is what you got to do. So I'm just going to show you this right now. You're not going to be doing this in a real professional environment. What this basically does is it launches the C++ compiler, G++, compiles the C++ file I just showed you, loads in these libraries PG and PGXX. Okay, so those are automatically linked in with the object of the insert CPP. Okay, so now I've run it, no problem, no error messages. So if we go a.out, which is the default bin file to run it, this is what we get. So we can see we open the database successfully. Let me just show you the source code there. So if it couldn't open it, it would say can't open the database, but it did open it successfully. Okay, so that's the first example. So the next source file I want to show you is called insert CPP. Okay, so what this does, same credentials. If you can't open it, it'll message you. And if it can open it and the database does exist, it will insert all this data using standard SQL. It'll do create a transactional object. It will execute the SQL, this guy here, commit it, and then disconnect. Okay, if there's a problem, it'll just message you. Okay, so I won't be able to run this because this data is already in. Actually, it may run. Actually, let me just compile it. So it's called insert.cpp. So everything stays the same as in the compiling, but in this case, we're just compiling insert CPP. So we're going to get some warnings, some deprecated. That's okay. It's not serious stuff. It's just for testing and demoing on how to use Postgres in Linux with Postgres. So now we're going to run this new bin file, which we just created again by default. Okay, so as I said, we're not going to be able to run it because this data already exists, so it's going to message you this duplicate key. Okay, so that's not going to run. But when you run it the first time, connects to the database, doesn't exist, it'll run, no problem. So the third file we're going to look at is I just went ahead, but essentially we can insert the database, but we also got to create the database. That kind of helped, wouldn't it? All we're doing is just everything stays the same. Connect in to the database with the credentials. We open it. Then we run this command here to create the database. Actually, the table, because we already created connected in the database right here. TestDB, so we're going to create a table. But if I just change this company name to company2, okay, it'll run, and then it'll say table. Everything stays the same. It'll just create a transactional object, execute the SQL, commit, and blah blah blah. Okay, let me just run this as is, but we're going to create a new table called company2. Okay, so let me just run that for you, compile it. Okay, off she goes. So we get the same warning as before. Let me just run a out that bin file, the new one. So as I said, it did create that new table in what's it called? So new table is called company2. So that did get created, no problem. Okay, so let's take a look at the other one. We'll just do it the insert. In this case, we knew we had a table called company, but we just created a new table called company2. So this is the same. We're just now working with a different table called company2. So that should work no problem. Okay, so in this case, let me just do this wonky compile statement. Insert a, run it. Oh, okay, well, whatever. Kind of works, kind of doesn't. So let me just show you the last file, select C++. So essentially what this does, it just reads in all the all the rows that are in that particular table that we're inquiring on. So yeah, we connect with the credentials, usual message. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select the company table, make it non-transactional, I guess. They're just reading it. Where do we put the result set? And then we are going to loop through the result by displaying all the fields in the rows. Once done, we're okay. Disconnect. That's it. Okay, so let's run it. Alright. So now what we're doing is we're doing a new compile on this last file. It's called select. Okay, so there we are. So let me just run it. Okay, so there you go. All the rows get displayed. Everything works with Postgres. So let me try one last test. Let me just service stop. So many commands here, you forget a lot of them. No, we don't want that. Let's see where we are going to. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if this will work. Postgres. I can't remember the name of the service of Postgres. Let's see, PS AUX rep post. So we've got Postgres running, but I don't know the name of the service. Anyways, I'm still, it's been a while since I really worked with Linux, so I can't remember how to look for the service to tear it down, but I'm sure I'll get a comment somewhere from someone. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to show you how to basically connect from C++ into Postgres using these 4 different files or C++ programs. So we got test, select, insert, create. Hopefully this will help somebody out there somewhere If you got questions, just comment away on my YouTube channel. Talk to you later.